What's up, everyone? It's your boy Norins89 here, bringing you another video. Sorry for a lack of content recently. Kind of just been taking a seat back. Also, the NBA playoffs are going on right now, and I'm very huge into the NBA. Denver Nuggets is my team, and we moved on to the second round. So I've been just watching a lot of basketball, but also watching a lot of other stuff, and that's what this video is going to be about. It's going to be kind of what I've been digesting in terms of my physical media or cinema or, TV shows or movies recently. So let's discuss some awesome watches. Roll it. So in terms of what I've been watching and digesting recently in terms of my entertainment diet and everything, I've been watching actually quite a lot of series, which is funny. I don't really digest and watch a lot of TV shows as much as I used to when I was a child or a teen, but this past 2 weeks, I've actually been watching a lot of shows. One example that I recently picked up, a good friend of mine sent me The Exorcist complete first season on physical media. So I've been watching this. I'm on episode 4 right now, and in terms of my enjoyment of it, I really do like the chemistry between our two lead priests in the series. That's really cool. Also love Gina Davis. It's fantastic to see her in just about anything. She's a gem. But there's also some shoddy CGI in here, but I heard some really cool things about how this connects to the first film. So I'm eager to get to that and finish that series. Also, I've been watching the Men in Black animated series. This is more of a throwback nostalgia, just kind of going back to when I was a kid, a child. This really does take me back in terms of the intro OST theme song, just the vibe of the show, the 90s nostalgia. And this is a really cool show to watch because if you like the Men in Black movies, the TV show just does so much in terms of building the world and building the lore. And there's actually some returning cast members from the movies, you know what I mean? Like Tony Shalhoub does voice Jeeves in the TV show. Frank is in the TV show as well too. So there's a lot of fun. Of course, Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith didn't lend their voices to the series, but that's okay. I like the voices that they got for J and K. I think they fit perfectly. So I highly recommend the Men in Black animated series. That is currently streaming on Tubi for free, and where you can check out The Exorcist. This one, if you don't have a physical media, which I luckily do, you can check this out on Amazon Prime, but I believe you actually have to pay for it and buy the seasons. I've also been watching The Last of Us Season 2, and we just recently had episode 4. I don't really do episode by episode reviews on my channel. Those don't really do that well in terms of covering seasons or anything, but The Last of Us Season 2, this is coming from somebody who was not a big fan, not a fan of the games. I don't play the games. It's not saying they're not good. It's just I'm not a gamer. So I'm purely attached to the show just based off of Ellie and, Joel and the content that I see on screen when I watch the TV show. I really loved season 1. That was probably one of the greatest seasons of horror cinema that we've ever had in terms of a television show. Season 2 right now, it's interesting. I like it, but there's a lot of moving parts, and I'm wondering how they're going to land this. This is more a fact of just, I hate me as a person. I hate that we have TV shows that are they're shrunken down so much now where it's only 7 or 8 episodes. I don't like that. I rather have a show have 10 to 15 episodes. Of course, you're going to stretch the budget out more then, you know what I mean? And I understand the concept now is shrink the TV shows and we could put more budget into less episodes and make them more epic. But for me as a fan of the old school times and being, nostalgia, like I said, for the 80s and 90s, I like my TV shows to have bigger, longer episodic seasons. I also have been watching a bit of Dark Side of the Ring. I am a wrestling fan. I'm huge into wrestling, and we just had WrestleMania that just happened, and then we're also leading into Double or Nothing pretty soon with AEW. I'm always watching those two promotions, but also Dark Side of the Ring, which is a really cool show if you are into wrestling or it's been a long time since you've been into wrestling, but you're a wrestling fan of the old days. Dark Side of the Ring is a really cool show. They have the first few seasons streaming on Tubi, and then if you want to check out the current season, it's actually on Vice TV. I think every Tuesday is when you can check out new episodes of Dark Side of the Ring, and that one, like I said, is fascinating because they go deep dives into certain stories. Every episode is about a specific story, you know what I mean? They do an Owen Hart episode, they do an episode about Bruno Sammartino, you know what I mean? They do episodes about different people from the wrestling world or different events events that happen. There's one that's about the Brawl for All, like, and how awful an idea that was and everything. So a lot of cool, fun stories. If you love wrestling, you love heels, and you love baby faces and the dark side stories, it's a really cool docuseries. And in terms of movies, there's only really 2 movies that I've watched recently. Like I said, I've been digesting a lot of television shows. For some reason, I've been really into just the episodic nature of TV shows and how, like, they stretch out and being attached to those characters and kind of going into the episodes. I've just been really into that. But I did watch the new Stephen King adaptation, The Monkey. Yes, I did have a lot of fun with that one. I was very surprised about how much comedy was in that film. It definitely is a comedy horror film, but man, the comedy just lands for me because it's so out there and so off the wall. And for me, this is the style that I like Osgood Perkins. Like, you know what I mean? Long legs. I appreciate long legs, but I wasn't a huge fan of that. This style right here, the Monkey movie, this is more my style of Osgood Perkins, and I can't wait for him to do more films similar to this, because I think the comedy horror, especially dark comedy horror, that's where his realm is, and that's like his special niche, and I want to see more films from him like this. Another film that I watched, which is a more old school film, is Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde. This is a Hammer film, and that's one thing that I'm not familiar with in terms of being a horror fan. I've been a horror fan my entire life, but I must admit, in terms of my knowledge of horror films, there is a big gap when it comes to Hammer films. I've never really seen any Christopher Lee Dracula films or a lot of the other Hammer films that have to do with Frankenstein or Wolfman or the stuff that they created, and I heard some pretty cool things about this one, so I checked out Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde, which is a really cool spin on a Jekyll and Hyde story, but also with a Jack the Ripper influence in it, as well as, you know, we have Dr. Jekyll, who is going around hunting down and slaying women in the night because he needs women's, I think it's like their estrogen or something that's in their body, he needs to put in his serum that actually turns him into a Sister Hyde, which actually is a female, and he's still like a murderous sexual type killer. It's a really cool one, like, for real. This is an interesting watch. It was a little bit longer than I wanted it to be, but this is one that I would highly recommend and I'm gonna return to. So thanks for sticking around with me, peeps. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, just kind of, you know, freshening up, catching up, you know, talking about what I've been watching recently and why, you know, I haven't been putting out a lot of content. I am going to be going on vacation pretty soon, so you're going to not be seeing a lot of videos over the next week or so, but I do have some Final Destination rad movie reviews that are going to be coming out because we're prepping for the new one. So there will be a couple of those, and then also if I do pop out any other videos, physical media ones and rankings. I did a poll on my channel in my community tab, and most people voted that they love my movie reviews, but also ranking videos. Those are some of the people's favorites, so you're probably going to see some more ranking videos over the next few weeks as well. But thanks for sticking around with me all for this video. Please leave a like on the video. That definitely helps out the channel. Subscribe if you're new to the channel and have that notification bell poked so you're notified anytime I drop a video. But most importantly, I want you all to have a safe and happy day. Peace out.